So I just want to share with you now some of I think the biggest part is of all this stuff. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people, and they've been coming up to me, and they didn't know I was even presenting, and they'll just be asking me, so how does this work for you, and what's been going on in your life? I want you to know that the biggest part about all this material is not doing it, but believing that it works. I mean, if you believe this stuff works, you could do anything. I mean, I've seen people do some stupid stuff in a club, but because they just know on the inside it's going to work, it somehow magically works. Why? Because believing is seeing. And here's a little hint. If you believe something enough, others will see it too. So when I meet women, I automatically have certain beliefs about myself. See, I don't look in the mirror anymore and see somebody 3 feet tall in a wheelchair. You have to get that. Like when I am like walking out in a public place, we'll be at a mall, I'll be with some girls, be with my buddies, doesn't matter. I'll be walking in a mall and I'll pass like one of those column mirrored things, and I'll see a reflection of myself. I'm like, oh, look at that guy in the wheelchair. That's he's cute, And I'll be like, whoa, dude, that's freaking you. And it's like, wow, I don't see myself that way, and I'll move on. And in my life, I've met people, and maybe there are people in this room that used to be this way. You're not this way anymore because you let it go. But you used to be really let's say you're really tall, but for some reason you feel really short. Have you ever met somebody who's super tall, but you swear to God they're short because of how they're carrying themselves? It's like you go up to them and they're 6'5", and they hunch over, and they're really soft, and you're like, dude, you're 6'5". What's up? And he's like, oh, I don't know. It's like you have to let that go because it's the way you see yourself. It's not how you look. When I get up and I get dressed in the morning, I don't look in that mirror, see that 3 foot tall image anymore. I see a calm, confident, sexy, powerful man. On the interview series, Dave and I were having fun. He's like, so, I don't know how it came up. He's like, so what do you call yourself or something like that? I'm like, I call myself the human tripod. Sometimes I'll go to a club, and a girl will be playing with my foot or something, because I'll be tapping it on her knee or something, and she'll be playing with my foot. I'm like, that's not my foot. She's like, really? I'm like, really? I have so much fun when I go out. Listen, people, you have to know that it's who you're being on the inside. It's who you're being on the inside. I could go to a club, and I've proven this. I've gone into a club, and I played like that guy in the wheelchair. That guy in the wheelchair, that guy you would think that's in the wheelchair, and I acted like the guy in the wheelchair. The guy in the wheelchair acts like, can you help me, push me over here. Oops, I dropped something. Can you hand me that? Please. I'm going to need you to hand me that, actually. So anyway, it's I don't go out with that mentality. When I go out with that, I'm in a wheelchair mentality, people are like, ooh, see in the corner over there? There's a guy in a wheelchair. They show it in their eyes. When I roll in like a rock star, and I'm all 3 feet of pleasure coming through. They're all like, who is this guy? I think I've seen, for some reason, how many people saw Different Strokes when you were a kid? There was a woman in a wheelchair that had my bone disorder, and people were like, were you on Different Strokes? I'm like, that was a girl. What? But for some reason, because I look so dramatically different, people are like, you must be on TV. So it's I have so much fun. And it's funny because, just to let you know, some point in my life, I think it was right about the time I started coming across David's material, is I started to realize that we are living in a matrix. This is really a matrix, and that I had been acting like there's things such as gravity, and that there's laws that I have to follow and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden one day I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to do anything normal. I'm just going to go as far off the deep end with women and see what happens. Because, I'm positive that I can get away with stuff that most of you guys would go to jail for doing. So I would just go out with my buddies. I'm like, dude, I'm going to do something, and then you're going to do something that I do, and we're going to see what reactions we get. And he's like, all right, this will be fun. So we'll go out, and I like go up to a girl, and I pull off super cuddly, like really well, right? I'm like, who's a cuddly guy? And girls are like, oh, you are. And so they'll come up and hug me. Or sometimes I'll go up to them and I'll like wrap around their leg, and I'll like try to start hugging their leg, and they're all like rubbing my hand. They're like, oh, and then all of a sudden I start like humping their leg, and like, and they're all like, you just violated me. I'm like, and you loved it. And it's like my buddy will go to do that, and it's like there's like 3 bouncers on him, like, freaks, we got a freak over here. And he's like, but the little man did it, and they're like, doesn't matter. He was funny, you're not. And it's like all of a sudden I realize when I go out, it's like that Matrix scene where it's like everything stops, and I can just be so playful. And you have to know that if you have like something super interesting about you, like whether it's your physical height or your body shape or your weight or something, like don't try to like hide it. Like it's something that you can maybe use if you want. But what I explained in the interview series, and what you'll understand, is that I don't make it like Sean's the funny guy that does the wheelchair joke. Like it'll be a small sliver of who I am. And then it will fade. Everybody that meets me, within a matter of a few moments, they'll tell me, wow, you're nothing like I thought you would be. I don't even see the wheelchair anymore. And that's because I make them comfortable. Here's something that you can establish. The goal is when you meet somebody, to just make them comfortable with you. A lot of the challenges you're having with women is that you may be coming off just creepy. You may be just coming off like you want love so bad and so much approval and attention. Just let it go. Just make them feel at ease and comfortable. And it's interesting because when I go out and I'm not that guy in the wheelchair, I'm that party guy that maybe you've seen on television, then it's like everybody wants to party with me. And it's like instead of being like the small guy in the wheelchair, I'm like the good luck charm. And I was just recently in Buffalo, New York. And I'm in a fraternity. And when I was in Buffalo, New York, I was doing a seminar with some of these guys. And we went out, and there was, how many people have ever been to Buffalo, the nightclub in Buffalo? Different party scenes. Well, anyway, it's open till like 4 in the morning. And they have this one club, and they have a thong competition. And what was interesting is they had the girls on the bar doing the thong song and stuff, and then all these guys, they're just hooting and hollering, going crazy, like, oh, yeah, I could get that girl's number. And they're like talking themselves up all over the place. And I'm just sitting there, just totally calm, relaxed. And then the thong competition's over. The girls are hopping off the stage one by one. And the thong winner, she's just drop-dead gorgeous, right? She's like what I call amnesia hot. Do you know what amnesia hot is? It's like where they're so hot, they come up and meet you, they ask you your name, you're like, hey, no. But amnesia hot, right? So she's amnesia hot, she comes down, and I'm just totally calm with myself. I'm like looking at her right in her eye, and everybody else is like checking out her body, and I'm just right in her eyes. And she comes up to me, and I get specifically right in her way. And she like stops, and she's holding this like thong trophy, and she thinks she's the coolest girl. I'm like, I didn't even think your ass was that cute. She's like, what? I'm like, we need to dance, let's go. And I just turn around. I don't even wait for her to say, no, I don't want to dance. I just start rolling away. And I'm thinking, there's just no way in hell this girl's going to shoot me down right now. It's like I got all the status because I just told her no, and I started wheeling away from her. So all of a sudden, she comes out on the dance floor. She's giving me this like private lap dance. The entire room, like this huge packed club, there's concentric circles of like guys going, Sean, 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 Sean. I'm just playing it up, and she's like, smack me, smack me. I'm like, aight. Like, no question in my mind. And what's interesting is like, I don't know why, but like guys are so comfortable with me doing nasty things to their girlfriends. Like, I'll be on the dance floor, and, like, guys will pimp their women out to me. They'll be like, girl, go, get up in his face. Shake it on him. And then they'll be, like, grinding on me, and they'll be like, get up on her, boy, get up on her. And it's like, what? It's because why? I'm having so much fun. I'm not being creepy. I'm comfortable in who I am. I let people know that it's okay who I am. I want you to know that if somebody like myself can roll into a room and get the hottest girl having fun, that is a total eye-opener that it does not matter what you look like. I know what a lot of you have been thinking. And in all truthfulness, you've been seeing a lot of the guys up on stage, and you may have been thinking secretively to yourself, yeah, but they're kind of attractive. I mean, they're good-looking guys. They could probably pull this off, whether they were being an idiot or not. It's because they're attractive. But let me tell you something. It has nothing to do with that because it's who they're being. That's why when I go out, I could act like that guy in the wheelchair, and the girls they'll just be repelled. They won't feel any energy attraction to me. Instead, I go out like I'm this cuddly, fun guy. Another thing I like to do, this is something I do a lot, is I'll go into a club, I'll be out with my buddies, and I want to meet a lot of girls, like early in the night. Because you know how, like, if you meet a lot of people early in the night, then, like, later when you're on the dance floor, you don't have to ask anybody to dance. You're just like, hey, we said hello earlier, now we can dance. Well, that's what I do. I go and try to meet all the hot women, but I do it in a special way. You can try this. I don't know, honestly, how this will work for you, but it just kills for me. So I go up, and I'll get right in a girl's way. She'll be so, like, moving through to the bar to get her a drink, and I'll just wheel right in her way. And I'll just say, oh, were you trying to get through here? Like, just totally aloof. Okay, you can't. And they're like, why? I'm like, because you didn't pay the toll. They're like so intrigued. They're like, what's the toll? And I'll just, like, point to my cheek, right? And they'll be all like, oh, that's so cute. So then they lean down to give me, like, this, like, adorable, sweet, Saturday afternoon special kiss right on the cheek. And, like, right before they kiss me on the cheek, I'm like, and I hit them right on the lips. And then I push them away. I'm like, what kind of guy do you think I am? And they're, like, dying. Because everybody's in the room. I'm like, she kissed me. She was kissing me. And then they're, like, flipping out. Sometimes I'll, like, just totally play it off. And it's weird. Like, some people don't know how old I am. And it's interesting because sometimes I'll ask for the kids. I'll be out with a girl on eating, and I'll be playful with her. And so I'll be like, the waiter will come, and I'll be like, can I have a kid's meal? And a beer? And so, like, he's got, like, the kids menu and crayons in one hand and, like, the beer in the other hand. He's like, which one's going to be more awkward, It's hilarious, and I just have fun with people. I want to talk to you now about some of the things that I do when I'm going out with girls. I got rid of the whole date mentality, thanks to David D. I spent so much money on women. It's like I could definitely probably own real estate, like, in 10 cities around the country if I just spend that money properly. So anyway, here's what I do. This is some good notes. Problem with dates, taking a girl to dinner, is there's, like, a lot of times where you have to feel like you have to be talking and, like, keeping it interesting, right? I do something, I just recently started doing this. It's huge. I take girls to IKEA. You take a girl to IKEA. You're like, I'm going shopping. I'm going to IKEA. Let's go. And they're like, IKEA? What? You're just like, I'm just going to look at furniture and stuff. And she's like, all right. And so then you have a plethora of things to do at IKEA that make you hilarious. You go to, like, the kitchen section. You sit down at the kitchen table and you have, like, kitchen conversations. You go into the fridge, ask her what she wants, and you just, like, start playing with your environment. Then you go over to the bed and you're all like, want to do it? You're like, huh? And, like, she's like, no. And, like, then you go over and you, like, start playing with, like, the squeegees in the bath area. You start throwing stuff at her. It's like there's so much to do there, and you're so unique for taking them there. And they walk out feeling like you've taken them to 12 different places because you took them to 12 different spots in IKEA. I mean, it's huge. Another thing is take girls to pet stores. That's huge. It's like a lot of people like, they go out and they're like idiots. They go and buy a dog to pick up chicks. And it's like, then they have to take care of that dog. It's like, just go to the pet store and get like double whammy. You know, you go to the pet store, you get them all cuddly, and then you throw the doggy biscuits at them, and you just have fun playing with your environment. Put a parrot on them. You just freak them out with animals. See, like, make them hold a spider, get them nervous, pull out the snakes. There's just so much to do in a pet store. Yeah, so you want to be creative. I'm going to tell you what is the biggest sexual turn-on of all times. It's novelty. It's something new that women have never seen or been exposed to. You know, I once took a girl to Walmart, and we went into the kids' toy section. I'm like, we're going to have a fight. She's like, really? So, like, you know those, like, Star Wars, like, laser that you, like, they, like, flip open, right? You just start fighting and you start having fun like you're a kid again. Like you just want to be playful. And all the while the girl's like, wow, I could see myself laughing with this guy, you know, for so many times. I just don't want to leave this guy. And then you're like, all right, Walmart's closed, gotta go home. And like you leave them. And it's like they can't wait for the next store you're gonna take them to or whatever. And plus, when you take them to Walmart, you know, you're not setting like a high expectation. It's like you can't go down from Walmart. You know what I mean? I want you to also know, one of the challenges you're going to experience, raise your hand if you came here and like this is your first experiences with like David D's stuff and like you're new to this. Raise your hand if you're new to a lot of this stuff. Okay, all right. I want you to know that your biggest challenge is not going to be going home and failing. It's going to be going home and succeeding. And it's going to scare the crap out of you. Because you're going to go, whoa, is this really working? And you're going to start to doubt yourself. Like, no. No, this is a fluke. This girl has just got issues. This girl's got like a criminal record or something. Like, you'll start thinking that girl, there's something wrong with that girl. And so then you'll go out again and it'll work again. You'll be like, what? Let me tell you, it's going to work. Do it. Follow it. Trust, you know, like, trust the pattern. Trust the process. One of the things that when I started doing this stuff is my buddy and I would you always want to make sure you find like, you know, an Al-Anon or any addiction specialist group. It's like you got to have your buddy, right? That you call in when you like want to be a wuss. You like call him up. You don't call the girl, you call your buddy. You like call him up and you're like, I want to tell her I love her. She's so cute. And you call up your buddy. He's like, dude, it's okay. It'll be fine. And you have that buddy to talk you through it. And all of a sudden, you're going to know that it's the process. My buddy would tell me over and over and over. The guy that taught me about IKEA, he would say, Sean, it's not the girl, it's the process. So like if it was all going well, he would even tell me, it's not the girl, it's the process. So that I wouldn't get all hung up on that girl. One of the things that I experienced and that you might experience is it'll work. And like that first time that it really, really clicks. Like where the girl is like, I remember I got home from the mastery program in LA, and I went speaking in Atlanta, and it was the first time that it worked like perfectly. Everything was falling into place, and I was like, oh, this is so awesome. And then something snapped in my brain that I don't want to snap for you. I went, this is working so well, I want to marry this one. Don't do it. And so I'm sitting there, and it was working out so well that all of a sudden I started thinking, this one's relationship material.
Is anyone close enough to slap him? I can't quite reach from here, but damn.
You want to bring it, please? Come on. I will chew the crotch out of you. All right, there's no comment after that one.
Yeah, later.
So anyway.
Later. Do that after.
So it's like, listen, it's gonna work for you. Don't psych yourself out. Don't think it's the girl and all of a sudden start falling for hardcore. What's interesting is I noticed David talks about the lean. How many people, anybody not understand the process of lean? L-E-A-N, leaning? Okay, well, I just want you to know, I invented the lean back in the 80s. Like, the lean is mine. Like, I was so leaning on girls, I like fell out of my chair leaning. And it's because I was so wanting to be loved and cared about. And it's like, I leaned so hard. Well, anyway, one day I was realizing, when I was reading the ebook, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm not going to lean anymore. And what was interesting is the day I noticed that I had stopped leaning and that it was powerful, I come back from the mastery program. I was in Atlanta. I was with this girl, and everything was working perfectly. It was clicking. And I was taking some risks. And it's really risky when you're telling somebody that you're super attracted to that you don't find her attractive. Like, I turned to this gorgeous girl who I had such a crush on right there in that moment. I'm like, it's just too bad I don't find you attractive. And I was joking. I took a chance, a shot in the dark. I wasn't trying to be cocky funny. I just shot it out there just for an experiment. Then I turned over and started talking to my buddy. This girl, this hot girl, was frozen in fear. Like somebody had just pulled the carpet right out underneath her, and she was frozen looking at me like, somebody just told me they're not attracted to me? And I saw her like lean in and like get all into me. And then like everywhere I went during that conference, she was following me around, talking to me, touching me, all this stuff. I was always pushing her away. Finally, this is important to notice, finally we went up to my room, my hotel room, and it was the first time I'd ever asked a girl to take me out of my wheelchair and put me on the bed. And so I was really nervous that she was going to flip out. So I looked at her, I'm like, all right, let's do this. Put me on the bed. Just totally comfortable for a split second, just to see what would happen. She's like, okay. I'm like, it's that easy? It was... It's like that easy? So she scoops me up, puts me on the bed. She gets on the bed next to me. We're cuddling together. And all of a sudden, I sat up and I was looking down at her. And I was talking to her, and then all of a sudden I noticed that I was getting really into her, and I was starting to like lean. So I just kind of moved my body back, kind of sat back on my hands. And she said something that blew my mind. She goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, nowhere. Are you that insecure? And she's like, oh, no. And I noticed in that moment, I could see who I was being in the old days. So I noticed how much I was really leaning. And when I leaned back, oh.
Yes.
And you'll get that moment where you'll go, wow, I did what that girl's doing to me right now. You'll have that like cosmic experience where it'll be like you're out of your body going, wow, that's it, I've changed. This is who I am now. One of the pitfalls that you're going to fall into is you're going to question yourself. You're going to think that, that this is working, but it's the girl. Or maybe you're going to think that she's going to find out who you really are. Like she's going to find out about your past, that maybe you didn't used to be smooth or whatever. And you'll be questioning yourself like you're acting this out. Stop doing that. It's not about acting. None of the guys on stage here, David, none of them, they're not telling you to act a certain way. They're talking about actually changing who you're being in your life. See, when I go out with guys, I'm comfortable. When I go out with girls, I'm comfortable. I'm just all about having a good time in my own skin. Women smell if you're comfortable in your own skin. If you're not comfortable in your own skin, they'll notice that, and then they will pick up on it, and they won't even consciously know. They'll just unconsciously start backing up. You don't want to do that. I want to give you some tips on some of the ways that you can have fun with really hot women. Here's some of the terms I use. He talked about them up on stage a little bit. I've just stopped complimenting women. If I give a compliment, it's like right up front, but I mix it. Like I mix a compliment with an insult. That's like my favorite thing to do now. So I'll like sit up at night sometimes and I'll think about like, what is like something really sweet and really sour at the same time? So I'll be sitting with a girl and I'll be like, you are so cute. And she'll be like, oh, and I'm like, when you whine. And she'll be like whining. I'll be like, you're whining. It's so adorable. Like I'll mix the insult with the compliment. And so it's like this, he's being nice, but is he? That's really big. Another thing is I used to think that, oh, if you treat a girl like a friend, then you'll get caught in that let's just be friends category. No. There's a difference, and David's talked about it. There's a difference between being a friend and being just a friend, that one word, just a friend. When you're being a friend with a girl, you can do all kinds of things. I used to think something really horrible. I used to think that you could only score with a girl if you were in a relationship. And that one just messed me up big time. Because I used to want to get in every relationship because I was like, oh, I really want to make out with her. I need to be in a relationship with her. And so I would mess up every single time. I didn't think a girl could be friends with a guy and have fun intimately. They totally can, guys, and they like it. And so what I established right up front is I call them things like buddy, friend, kid, kiddo, crazy, girly. He said dork, nerd, goof, klutz, spoiled girl, pampered, ornery, pain in the ass, naughty, dirty, freak. The last three are my favorite. I really like them. It's stinky. Women take serious pride in how they smell, especially hot women. If like you're standing in an elevator, I do this a lot. You're standing in an elevator, just start making very loud sniffing noises. Like, and like lean in, like she stinks, like you're like, and then right when it's your floor, like, and you get off and you're like, and just the look on their face, because like, but you're doing it in just such a way that they're like, he's an ass. But they're loving it because no one's doing that. Listen, how many guys notice that like girls say all the time, I want to be treated as an equal? Raise your hand if you've ever heard a girl say, I want to be treated as an equal. They're not lying. They're not lying. For the women in the room, they're not lying. Girls want to be treated like an equal. The problem in most guys are putting them on such high pedestals that no one's having fun with them anymore. Like they're living in a world that's like no one's having fun with them. And so like they're kissing their ass, they're treating them like gold, and they're feeling like all they really are a body and a face. And they don't feel valued anymore. So this playfulness makes them feel like they're just like you and they're like everybody else, and they feel one again. They feel like they're back in the sandbox and everything's a good time in this playground, and it's they're just having a good time again, as opposed to the same old routine stuff of let me kiss your ass, let me kiss your ass. They're sick of that. The hotter the girl, the more they like that playfulness. It makes them feel on the same level again. A big thing that David's been talking about, I want you to know, is that I am like really playful with girls, but girls always leave me giving me the most cuddly hugs, loving me, because they know I'm just having a good time with them. And sometimes I'll go out and I'm not that ass. Sometimes I'll go out and I am cuddly. If I'm just wanting to have a good time and I'm not looking to, be, cocky, funny, I just want to be cuddly, I'll go out and be cuddly, but I'll make that my objective and know that I'm going to get a certain reaction from that, like I will from being cocky, funny. And what's funny is I'll sometimes lead with the cuddly, so they think I'm all cute, and then I'll be that dirty guy. It's kind of like I tricked them, and they like that. Or sometimes sometimes I'll just I'll get them in a hug, right? And I'll nuzzle my nose into their neck, and I'll be like their friend. I'll be like, and they'll come back, and they're all tickled, and they're like, oh, that was cute. And then I'll totally ignore them for a few minutes. They're like, how could he do that? He's so cuddly and now he's not. It's like I'm just having a good time. I'm being playful. I'm having fun with pedestrians. That's a big thing. Another thing, cool date options. Another cool date options is mystery. Keep things mysterious. You call them up. You tell them what to wear. You're like, and then also tell them what to bring, but tell them to bring something that's so off the map. Like, tell them to bring galoshes. They're like, just bring galoshes. It may be rainy. You know, we're like, just tell them to bring something funny. Like, bring something that you loved when you were a kid. Just bring, like, something special or something. And, like, don't even mention it when you get there. It's just create something. When guys usually tell a girl to meet them at a certain time, a certain place, they're so predictable. Tell them to bring something. Tell them what to wear. Tell them nothing about what you're going to do. Here's some of the things that I do. I've gone to parks, like outdoor parks at night, and I'll bring, like, a stereo with, like, good music, and we'll just be talking. I'll be like, all right, get over here. We're going to dance. You know, and, like, we'll just start dancing, and then we'll just start talking. It's like most guys, they think that they have to, like, make a big production out of it, and yet, like, something as simple as, like, a $50 boombox and just dancing under the stars for a minute and then just going back to joking with her. It's, like, so not what other guys do. They leave going, wow, I can't wait for what's coming next. Go on nature walks. Wrestle with them. Roll on the ground. If you live in a cool climate, go out and, like, do nature walks when the leaves are falling. Start throwing leaves at them. Push them. Sometimes when the conversation is at a lull, I'll just kind of push a woman. And, like, they kind of get knocked off balance. Be like, what's that for? It's like, I don't know. You just need to be pushed. And they'll be loving it. They'll just not expect it. Another thing I'll do is take them to an art gallery. You know, I put this in my notes. If the girl is totally not a classy girl, take her to a classy place. It takes her out of her element. If a girl is a totally classy girl, take her out of her element. So, like, if a girl's not classy, take her to an art museum. Because then she's all like, ooh, you're classy. If she's totally classy, take her to, like, a monster truck rally. Seriously, they'll be like, you took me to a monster truck rally, and you're like, yeah. They're totally not expecting it. Take them to the zoo and tell them they look like the animals. Have fun with it. Just be playful. Like I said, pet stores, take them out of their element. You know, it's interesting because it's who you're being. I think the night is determined when you go out. It's determined the second you think about going out. It's not determined once you get there. It's what you decide before you go out that night. And most of the time, when I have a good time when I go out, it's because I decide ahead of time, all right, tonight I'm going to have a blast. And I make it my objective, and I go out, and I have that blast when I go out. And it's like everything's fun. Some of the times I go out, and it's like, have you ever gone out and you know you're not in the mood, and you go out and nothing great happens? You're like, shouldn't have gone out that night. I'm going to tell you something. You can change it in a moment. Because remember, it's about the beliefs. You can change it in a moment. It's about the beliefs. Here's something very important. Think of beliefs as lenses on a camera or contact lenses. And every time you change that lens, you change how you're seeing things. So if you have the lens that you are the funniest man alive, you're just going to have a blast. You go out and you see every opportunity. You're looking around at every moment to have a blast. You're asking yourself good quality questions. Here's a good question to ask yourself. What's funny about this? What's funny about this? And if you ask yourself that question, that lens of belief will make you funny. The problem is most of you guys, you're looking through lenses of insecurity. And I put down in my notes here, this is important for you to remember, is you see life through your lens of your insecurity. And every time you see life through your insecurity, it's like you're convinced that that's the way it is. And you'll go out and you're so convinced that you'll find reasons to back it up. I know when I was younger and I was messing things up, everything would be interesting because we would go out on a date and I would just look for ways that she would not find me attractive. She'd say something and I'd be like, boom, that's the reason why she's not attracted to me. And if she'd say something else and I'd be like, nope, that's it now. And I would sing everything she was saying through this insecure lens until finally I was backing up that insecure belief. And I think for some reason, you guys are hitting yourself up with this enjoyment of, yep, I was right. My insecurity was right. she doesn't like bald guys. She doesn't like short guys. She doesn't like this guy. And you're feeding your insecurity. Let it go. You're just going to have to let that insecurity go. Next thing. Big thing. You want to try this out. If you ever met a girl at a club, and let's say you exchange numbers, and I shared this on the interview program, and she sees you again, just for the fun of it, act like you have no clue who she is. Like this, the hotter the girl, the even better. I was at a party, and there's this girl. We had talked several times before, and we went to this party, and we were in a garage or something. It was a house party, and she came up to me, and she's like, "Sean, good to see you." She's all over me. She's hugging me, and I was dead serious. This is just a tool. You don't have to lead with this every time. And I was like, "Oh, hi. Who are you?" And she's like, "Oh." I'm like, and she's like, no, seriously. And then all my buddies are watching, and they're all like, "Dude, he doesn't remember you. What's?" And I'm like, so then I would play really serious. I'd be like, "Psst, come here." So she'd like lean in, be like, "I travel for a living, and I meet a lot of girls." So why would I remember you? And she's like, ah, she storms off. And like, that was the first time I'd ever tried that, right? And I was all like, oh my God. She's going to kill me. And so I was like all afraid. I'm like, I'm 45 pounds, right? I can imagine her like coming back like, "I'm going to throw you through a window," right? I didn't know she was going to turn psycho girl. So she comes back and she's like, she tries again. She's like, she comes back and she had made a list on paper of all the times we had met. She's like, "We met at this party and this party. Remember, you cuddled me? You were nuzzling your nose in my face? And then you did it." And I was like, and what's crazy is she stormed off again. And I'm like, all right, this girl's gone, right? I didn't know. I was thinking one of two things, and you've experienced this. I was either thinking that I had blown it, it was over, no chance, or she was so into me, it was on. She comes back in the room, and she looks at me like, "I'm going to make you remember me." She comes up to me. She excuses me from all the guys. She's like, "Excuse me." She grabs my wheelchair. She wheels me down the hall. She opens up a room, like an empty bedroom. She pushes me in. She gets in the room and slams the door and locks it. I'm all like, yes! There was no greater feeling on the planet. So anyway, I want to leave you with some other things. Create mental puzzles for women to solve when you're not around. Tell a woman she's everything you never thought you wanted. It will eat her alive. I recently saw how this worked. A buddy of mine, we were out, and his girlfriend came up to me, and she's like, "Can you believe what he said to me?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "He told me that I'm everything he never thought I wanted." And I was like, "And that bothers you?" She's like, I hate it so much." And I noticed she was working so much energy into this that she was loving it. She was loving it because he wasn't around, and it gave something for her to think about. It's because he didn't come right out and say, "I love you, and I dreamt about you my whole life. I prayed every night, and every time I threw a penny into a wishing well, I was hoping it would be you. And every star that was shooting in the sky, I would hope it would be you." It creates this mental puzzle where women are like, "Ah, I love it." it's weird. It's crazy. You want to know what women find attractive? Ask them what they hated most about their ex-boyfriends. Gentlemen, it's a pattern. They will tell you point blank what their attraction is. They'll come out and say, well, I don't like a guy when he does this, and this, and then do all those things. And have fun with it. I mean, don't do the abusive stuff that she says, but do like the funny, crazy stuff. Like she would say, oh, he would never call me, then never call her, because that's her attraction strategy. She will map it out for you because she's dating these guys over and over for a reason. So try that out. I want to leave you with some points here. Comedy. Some big things about comedy. Have a filter. And David, I want you to listen up, because I think you could be a lot funnier. And this is really important because a lot of the times that you're bombing up here,
As if.
a lot of the times that David's bombing up here is because he tells us he's bombing on a consistent basis. So then finally we're like, this guy apparently is not that funny. Don't point out when you're not funny over and over and over. It's just something you might want to try. Another thing.
Can I?
Yes, honey.
Are you attempting to make me feel attracted to you?
You want some more, huh?
When you listen to me, I can't get the image of you humping my leg out of my mind. It's like ever since I've seen it, I've been like, I don't know whether I don't know. It's just
he likes it. Okay, another important point here. Side note from comedy: whatever it is that you don't find attractive about your body, you need to turn it around right now. Just turn it around right now. For me, this is important. I'm going to share this on camera. I can't believe I'm doing this. One of the things that was really big for me is when I would go out, I would be so self-conscious of my chest bone because my ribs come together and they meet at the sternum and it points out. So when I was growing up, I would never take my shirt off at the pool. Like all my buddies they'd take their shirt off at the pool, and I would always keep my shirt on. So I was all like, oh, I don't want any girls to see this, I would always cover it up. I'd be covering it up because I made it mean something. And meaning is a big thing. What you're making your meaning be is so important. I was making this chest bone be ugly, unattractive, and deformed. So I was hiding it. Until one day, I was in a group of girls, and this group of girls, we were all talking about what we didn't like about our bodies. Women love to play that game. They're like, I don't like this. And this was a low moment in my life. My self-esteem wasn't really high. And girl turned to me, and she's like, what don't you like about your body? And I'm like, my chest bone. And she's like, why? I'm like, oh, because it sticks out and it's not attractive. And she's like, well, I think it's kind of cute. Really? Why? She leans in, she goes, well, you were born with an added sex toy that no other man has. I'm like, oh yeah. So every single day after that moment, I'm like, what's up, ladies? How you doing? So then it came a name. It's called the chest boner. It's the bone that never goes down. No, so anyway, it's about shifting the meaning in your body. But back to the funny things. Avoid the slapstick humor if that's not your style. I've seen a lot of guys die with trying to be all slapsticky with a girl. If it's not your style, try it out. If it doesn't work for you, let it go. Another thing is avoid a lot of guys, there's a lot of in here that are very intellectual. Avoid the deep intellectual humor that you have to explain. Don't ever get to doing jokes that you have to explain or make apologies for. Another thing is, you want to exaggerate the obvious. Exaggerate the obvious about any situation. Keep the background always playful, when you're with girls. Avoid self-deprecation. Never apologize for your jokes. If they bomb, make it like it's their fault, not your fault. This is a big one that tell her she bores you and that the girl you went out earlier with in that day was a lot more fun. And it will create this like, what? You went out with another guy today? Another girl today? And they're like, you did? And they were more fun than me? You want to like always keep that playful, you don't know who you are mentality. All right, so last thing. Let's do this together. I want to make a big shift for everybody in their bodies because I think this is really important. We let a lot of things go. Raise your hand if when we flushed that insecurity out of you, if you could feel a shift in your body. Raise your hand if you could feel the shift. All right, I want to make the last shift for you. I think this is going to be really important. All right, I want you to put your right hand out. All right, in this right hand, I want you to think about the most confident guy, mentor, person, maybe that somebody you saw up here, somebody you know in your personal life, is extremely good with women. Think about how they act, how they talk, how they breathe, how they move. Just I want you to put that picture in your right hand, all right? I want you to make that picture like you're holding a crystal ball. And that is like, you can see that person, and you're looking at them, and you're like, yeah, that's the attitude I want. You're holding that in your right hand, a crystal ball. I want you to put your left hand out now. I want you to make a picture of you at your lowest moment. You're so pathetic, so clingy, so needy, and like you don't want people to know how bad this image really is. Look at that person and notice in this hand that picture is getting smaller. Okay? And notice now in this left hand, that picture of you not succeeding with women, leaning, screwing up, that picture is getting smaller and smaller in your hand. Until it's so small that it's now the size of about a marble. And I want you to hold it up closer to your face so you can get a good look at it, because it might just be the last time you'll ever see this. Look at that picture. It's so tiny. It almost seems funny that that's so distant. And I want you to put that hand down. I want you to look at this now. I want you to see that mentor. Except in this crystal ball, I want you to see something shift. Instead of seeing that mentor as someone else, I want you to morph in the picture of you. Morph in that person with you, and you're taking on how they breathe, how they talk, how they act, how they move. And notice that picture becoming brighter and more powerful. Now what's going to happen is in a moment, you're going to bring your hands together only at the rate and speed at which you're ready to let the new beliefs, that new powerful mentor that you're capable of always being, that's instinctually you were born with, I want you to bring that together with that other distant marble, that tiny old belief system. Bring your hands together, but only at the rate and speed at which you're ready to bring on that new lifestyle of powerful confidence, and you integrate everything that you've learned from this program, from the seminars, the tapes, the things that you're going to learn in the future, from the people you've learned next to you. Bring your hands together at the rate and speed at which you're ready to bring in this mentality with the old mentality, except now bring your hands all the way together and rub your hands together. But that new powerful belief has completely smeared out that marble. And once you rub your hands together, you're going to just bring this into your life right now for the rest of your life. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right, now notice how that new feeling just took over your body. That this is about shifting your being. This isn't about like, oh yeah, so I went to this seminar in New York to try out these pickups. It's not about that. It never was. It's not why David does this. It's not why he brings people here to talk. It's about shifting your being. Because guess what? You know what the thing that I always teach people when I leave my stage? Is that if you can go in a room all alone and enjoy the company, that's the coolest life to ever have. To be able to be all alone and be impressed with the company. Be like, yes, I'm really proud of who I am. Really proud of who I've become. That is more powerful than trying to score the hottest woman on the planet. Because guess what? Women will smell that I'm comfortable in my own shoes, and they'll be like, oh, I want more. And they'll find you, and they'll bring you into their lives over and over and over. That will be the most seductive thing you can do.